Hello everyone, welcome back. So in today's video, I'll be showing you how to replicate data from Amazon RDS to Amazon Redshift with the help of AWS Glue. Okay, so let's get to it. Okay, so like I mentioned in today's video, we will be going through the process of replicating data from Amazon RDS to Amazon Redshift with the help of AWS Glue. Okay, so notice here I've used replicate, but you can also replace this word with another similar word like move or load. Okay, so basically we are just going to be moving data from RDS to Amazon Redshift. Alright, so let's get to it. So I'm going to go over to my AWS console right here. I'm logged to my account, and right here this is my console home, and from here we have three services that we'll be using in this video. So we'll be using RDS, we will be using Redshift, and we will also be using Glue. Okay, so these are the three major services that we'll be using in this video. Alright, so the first service that we'll be looking into in this case, I will start with RDS. So I'm just going to go to my RDS dashboard right here, and as you can see, I have 1 out of 40 instances running, and if you click into this, you will see right here that I have PostgreSQL database running. I previously made a video where I went through the process of creating PostgreSQL database on AWS, and if you want to know the steps of doing that, then please do take a look into that video. I will put it in the description if you want to know the steps of creating PostgreSQL database. I'm just going to quickly click into this, and as you can see, we have the endpoint here, and again, this is a free tier database, so AWS will not be charging me for this. And to connect to this database, I'm using dpfer, so I'm just going to show you quickly. So I'm going to open my dpfer in my launchpad, and also if you don't have dpfer, do download it as well. I've made a number of videos on dpfer, and I have also done videos on how to connect your dpfer to RDS database, and I also did the same for PostgreSQL database running on AWS. Okay, so if you want to know how to set up your environment, look into those videos. I will also put them in the description. All right, so I do have that database right here, and as you can see, this is the one. This is that one. I have highlighted it right here, and I'm going to open this, and I've gone ahead and created databases and loaded data to this environment. So the one that will be using this video is this one for DVD rental. So I'm just going to click into this, and as you can see in the public schema, I have a number of tables here. So these are the tables that are currently contained in the DVD rental database. And if you're wondering where I got this data, I will quickly show you. If you go to your browser and type DVD rental, this is going to bring you to this website for PostgreSQL sample database. So this is a popular sample PostgreSQL database that you can use. Yeah? So just click to it and go to load sample database. It's going to show you the steps of how to load this data. Okay, so you can download it to your local machine and go ahead and load it to your database. Okay, so it's going to bring together all of these tables that are contained inside this DVD rental. Okay, so these are the tables I will be using. In this video, we will not be loading all of this. We will actually just pick one, and in this case, we will be going with customer. So I will just quickly show you how this data looks like. Okay, so customer, so we have some data here, and what we will be doing is basically just replicating this data to Redshift. Okay, so we'll not be doing any transformations, but you know, if you have any transformation that you have to do, you can do it, but in this case, we'll just replicate or move this data or copy this data to Redshift. Okay, so we have our RDS database code now, and let's now move over to the other service I'll be using, and in that case, let's actually move to Redshift. So I'm just going to open this on a new tab, and as you can see, I'm using Redshift serverless. So this is my dashboard, and I have one namespace for this one created. You can go to it and see more information inside the workgroup. That will give you all the information that you need to know about your Redshift. Now, to connect or to query your database, all you have to do is just go to this left side here and open the query editor right here, and this will bring you to your editor in Redshift, and from here you can run your query. So if I expand this, I will show you what we have here. So I have 3 databases now. In today's video, we will be using this database called def, and we will be writing that table inside this def database. Okay, so you can see right now we have one table, this one for orders. So we will just be adding additional table right here. Okay, so by the end of this video we should have additional table right here. Okay, so we'll not create a table ahead, we will let Glue create a table for us when we run the Glue job. Okay, and if you want to know how to configure Redshift serverless, I have done 2 videos previously where I went through the process of creating and setting up your Redshift serverless environments. So if you want to know how to do that, definitely do also take a look into those videos. I will put them in the description. Okay, so we have our Redshift now good to go, and the next service that we will be taking a look into is now AWS Glue. Okay, so I'm just going to open AWS Glue right here, and this is the Glue environment. So we have here the dashboard, and there is a lot of information here. We will be only looking into a few of these. The first one that we want to take a look into, and which is the major one here in this case, is Glue connections. Okay, so if you click connections, we will actually want to connect to the 2 environments. So we want to connect to Postgre, our transactional database running on RDS, as well as Redshift. Now in this case, I have done a video previously on Redshift connection. So if you want to know how to do that, do take a look into that video. But basically, I have my connection for Redshift ready to go, and to test that, just go here and hit click test connection. So this is going to test your connection to Redshift, and it's going to tell you if everything is fine. In this case, all is good. So you can see here successfully connected, and the same thing with PostgreSQL connection test. If you do that, just go ahead here and click this connection, and for me it's going to be showing as successful as well for this, because I have set the connection for that. Now, because I did the video for Redshift, so you can take a look into that. I did not do for Postgre, but I'll just quickly show you how you can do that. So all you have to do to create your Postgre connection is go ahead and create here, type here Postgre, and it's going to pop up right here. Click next, and then you want to choose the instance. So in that case, it's going to be PostgreSQL, PostgreDB. Now in this part here, you want to enter a name of database that actually exists in your Postgre database. So what you want to do is, once you create your Postgre instance, you want to create a table. So you can just manually create and load data to it, or you can load a CSV, whichever way. Just go ahead and create it, and make sure that you have some data there that you can use. So in my case, I was using DVD rental as the name of the database, because that is what I have loaded data to right here. Okay, so I'm just going to point it to this one right here, and you can use a secret manager. In my case, I also went ahead and created the secret in secret manager. If you go here, I created it right here in secret manager, here right here, Postgre, and you can also view the secrets retrieve. But it's pretty straightforward. What you want to do is just store a new secret, and this one credential for RDS, enter the username that you created when you're creating your database, the password, and then just go ahead and select the Postgre here, click next, and I think the next one, it is going to ask you for the name for your secret. Just do it, and then you will finish it. I'm not going to do it here, but if you choose that option, it's going to pop up right here, and it's going to show you. This is how I name mine, my PostgreSQL creds, and from there, if you choose the username and password, then that's all, it also works the same. And then for the service role, this is actually very important right here. The service role here is also going to be the major contributor to whether you are going to make this connection work or not. So I'm going to show you this IAM role quickly. It's the same role that I'm using for Redshift, as well as my other connections to S3. So that role is this one right here. I named it Redshift role, but you can just name it ETL. It doesn't matter. What matters is what you have put right here. So right here, you see all of these permissions here. This may not be relevant if you just want to connect to Postgre, but since in this case we are integrating 2 databases, you might just want to copy the same way that I've done here. So I have all of this, so you can see I have full RDS full access, Redshift full access, Amazon S3 full access, AWS console full access, all of this, okay, so including secret manager. So I tested this several times and I came to the conclusion that these are the ones that are working fine for me. So you can copy this, and in the trust relationship here, I don't have anything except Glue, okay, so I only have Glue here, and these are the permissions that I have for this one. So again, these permissions that I have added here have allowed me to connect successfully to Redshift and also to S3, okay. I've done a number of videos using Glue where I've done transformations, writing data from from S3 to Redshift using Glue. I've done also some other videos where I'm transforming data in S3 and writing it back to S3. And in this video now, we're just copying from RDS to Redshift. So these permissions, I think, are going to be helpful to you. The other thing that you also want to make sure that it is properly configured is your VPC and security group. So if you go to VPC here, I'm going to open my VPC, and one of the things that you want to take a look into is the endpoints, okay? So I'm going to show you my endpoints. Okay, so you want to create an endpoint to S3, and this will be gateway. Okay, so I will show you this in details. So I've created a gateway that is S3 gateway, and it is using this route table. And in this route table, I have these routes. Okay, so you can see, maybe if I do it this way, you can see that I have a route table for local and also one for internet gateway. Okay, and this one I have associated it with that route table for it, the endpoint for S3. So this is how it looks like. You can just go ahead and create it and just make sure that you have this destination open here. And let me know if you run into any issue when you're creating this. Let me know, and I can make another simpler video on how to do it. But if you watch that video where I was testing the connection from Glue to Redshift, I went into the detail on how to do this. So I suggest that you take a look into that video, because this connection to PostgreSQL is going to be using a lot of the configurations that I used in that connection to Redshift. I only added a few things here. Actually, the only thing I added here, if you avoid the other one for Redshift, is this one for RDS endpoint. Okay, so I only added a RDS endpoint and just made sure that it's using the same security group. So this is very important also. The security group that you choose should be the same one that you're using in Glue. Okay, so I just went ahead and created this, selected all the subnets and associated it with the Redshift security group. So this is the security group that I'm using in Glue. It is the same one I'm using in Redshift, and I'm also using the same for my RDS. And if we go to this security group, actually, let's actually go there. If we go to EC2 right here, I will show you that security group right here. I initially was trying to use the RDS. I created a separate one, but it was giving me problems, so I just ended up using this one for Redshift. And if you go to the inbound rules here, you will see that I have 3 rules here open, one for Redshift, and this will be so right here I will start to Redshift, right? So I have Redshift accepting traffic from my local machine. This is the IP address for that, as well as PostgreSQL. Okay, and this is as you can see, we were able to connect to dpfer because I have this source open here. Okay, and the other one that you want to do here is to add also this one as self-referencing rule. And if we edit here, actually, you will see. So let me actually go back. So what you want to do for this one, right, the self-referencing rule, you want to copy the security ID for your Redshift and PostgreSQL, and all you want to do is just edit here and add this rule, all TCP, open all ports, and the custom source for this one will be self-referencing. So you're just adding it back to your security security group for Redshift and PostgreSQL in this case, and then just save it, and you should be good. Okay, so you do that and go ahead and test your connection. Okay, so let's go back there. So you want to enter that service role here, choose the VPC. I think we have a number of subnets. You can choose, we have 6 of them. Any of this should work. Okay, so you can take any of this, but I think the one that I chose, I went to my RDS and there's something that yeah, the availability zone. So the zone that I saw here, it was running in one like US East 1. So what I did with the RDS subnet, sorry, the subnet here, I just chose it for US East 1 for as the zone here. But I don't think it will give you any issue if you choose a different zone. I think it should be fine. And then here, very important, make sure that you choose the security group, the one that we have created. Okay, so I associated it with this. Okay, and one other thing that is very important also if you are doing this, so what you want to do when you're creating your RDS is make sure that if you had created a different security group for Redshift and you wanted to create a different one for RDS, that might give you issues. I suggest you use the same security group that you're using for Redshift for your RDS connection. So in this case, you can see that I have this one here as my security group, my Redshift sandbox for my RDS here, and this is the same one that I'm using in Redshift. So if I go to my Redshift, it's the same one here that I'm using here. So if you open this one, it will bring you to the same location right here. Okay, so that is my setup for the RDS and Redshift and how I have configured my VPC in the IAM. Okay, so just do that and click next, and you should be able to create your connection. If you're running into issues, let me know in the comment section, and we'll see how to troubleshoot it. Okay, so you do that, and then now come here and test your connection. We have done that, and we have our connections now from Glue to Postgre running fine, as well as from Glue to Redshift working fine. And the reason we are doing this is because Glue is sitting in the middle, so you want Glue to connect to your Postgre database so that it can bring the data that we want to move to Redshift. And you also want Glue to connect to Redshift because we will be pushing the data over to Redshift. Okay, so this is a very important section right here. I will not be creating crawlers, but I think if you want to have the table sitting in data catalog, then you can create a crawler and just point it to your connection. In this case, Postgre, and just scroll it and you can use it here. I'm not going to be using it. I think it's not necessary. We'll be just doing it directly from the job itself. So now we have our connection ready. Let's now jump over to the job. Okay, so let's go create a job that will be moving our data from RDS to Redshift now. So for that, I'm going to go over to ETL jobs right here, and I'm going now inside here. There are a few things, there are a few ways that you can do this. You can use the visual ETL or the notebook. Okay, so if you know PySpark, then you can go ahead and just code in PySpark and write your scripts, your transformation scripts, and it's just going to work fine. I'm just going to go with the visual ETL because I feel like it's much easier. And what you want to do from here is just select your source. So in our case, we are going to be choosing our source as Postgre. So just select Postgre here, and we want to configure it. So right here, there are two ways for the source. You can use data catalog or JDBC. We didn't create a crawler, so we don't have anything in the data catalog. So we'll just go with the JDBC connection, and in this case, we'll just choose our connection. And so right here it's asking you to put a table name. So let me quickly show you the connection again. If we go back to Glue, where is Glue? I don't think I have it open here. I'm just going to go over here, actually right here. So if we click into this connection, there's you can see a quick summary here. So you can see the database we have used here is DVD rental. So that means that we inside our connection, we are connected to DVD rental. This is very important because what you want now to do here is list a table that is inside that schema or database. And in this case, if you go here, we have the schema as public, and if you have created a different schema, then you can you can list it, but this is public schema, and all we have to do is just list the customer or the table name right here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just put the name here. Okay, I'm just going to put the name of the customer like that. Okay, I think if you have a different schema, I don't think the schema here matters. I've seen, if you see here, it says you can also do the schema dot the table name. Also for example, this case, the schema will be public dot customer, but I was testing it and it was giving some issues if you do it like this. So I think in Postgre you just need to enter the name of the customer. If if the customer gives you, if just entering the table gives you problems, try putting the schema dot the table and see how it works. I tested this for me and it was working fine. Just put the connection and the table name, and you should be good to go. And now if you want to preview your data, then you can put right here the service role. Okay, so I'm just going to select the service role right here, which is the IAM role. And what it's going to do here is it's going to connect to your database and start previewing the data inside this table. Okay, you will also get the output schema here once the preview is done. So depending on the size of the table, this might take a minute or two to complete. So what we will do from here, we'll just let this one run, and what we will do is we will go and configure our target. Okay, so in this case we are not going to do any transformations, but if you want, then we have a list of transformations here that you can use. Okay, so we have a number of them. We have joins, we have schema changes, we have sensitive data. If you want to remove or mask or detect it and do whatever you want to do, you can choose that. So we have a number of transformations here. You can rename tables, you can drop nulls, all of that. I'm not doing any of this. I'll just go ahead to the target section here, and we want to write our data now to Redshift. Okay, we're going to choose Redshift as our target, and what we want to do from there is go to Redshift now. Just click the node here, and we want to configure our node. So as you can see here, it's saying here PostgreSQL is our node, which is the case, of course. And we want now to move over to Redshift. So the access type here, you can use Glue data catalog as well if you've created a crawler to Redshift, but in this case, it's giving us an option to directly connect to Redshift, and we have done that. So we are just going to select our connection here, and as you can see, the connection here, we are using the dev database. So let's go to Redshift. You will see this is the database. That means that when we run our job, it's going to create a table inside this database here. So I'm going to refresh here, and I'll just show you that we don't have we only have one table inside this dev database, and that table is called orders. I created this table previously in one of the other ETL jobs that I was running, and in today's video we will just be loading customer here. So when our job runs, we expect to see customer table here added to this, so the number here should increase to 2. Okay, so let's go back here, and so yeah, so that is our database. And for the schema, we are using public, and the table, of course, we don't have the table created in Redshift. You can see that inside the public schema now we only have one table. We just want to add now additional table here called customers. Is it customers or customer? Customer. Okay, so this is customer. All right, so just put it like that. So when we run this, what's going to happen is Glue will actually generate the DDL for this. It's going to create a table in Redshift. If it exists, it's going to replace it, I think. And if it doesn't, so actually there are a number of operations down here. You can see right here. So this is what's going to happen, right? How you want Redshift to handle this. So we have the options here. If this table exists in Redshift, what do you want to do? You can append the data there. You can merge the data in the target table. You can truncate or also drop. Now, if the table is already created, then it's going to do any of this, if you specify. If the table is not there, it's going to create it, and in subsequent runs, now it's going to apply whatever option you have chosen here. So in this case, I'm going to go with the second one, because I think this is the mostly used one. You don't want to append data unless you know for sure that the data that you're getting is strictly incremental. There's no duplicates, there's no nothing. It's usually hard to know that, so I like to go with the merge option here. some of the other ones, if this is a static file, you can just go with the truncate and load the data when the job runs. But I think this one is usually pretty neat if you have especially the keys, which is what we have right here. So you want to choose the keys if you're using the match, and what it's going to do is it's going to um, use that key to create a match condition. So if the data already exists in the table, then it's going to update in place, and if it's a new data, then it's just going to append. So that's pretty neat. So the option that we are looking for here is the field, and I think that is not available yet because this one is still running. Okay, so this one is still running. It might take like 2 to 3 minutes to complete, and what we want to do is we want to get our output schema right here. Okay, so I'm actually going to let this one run, and we will come back once we have our output here, because that's going to be important in our next step. Okay, so that's interesting. So seems like it completed here. Don't know if it's ready yet. It's not yet, so we'll let it process, and we will pick it up once we have our schema here. Okay, so as you can see, our preview is now available, and the data is also showing right here. So you can see in the data preview, we have the customer ID, store ID, first name, last name, and the rest of the data. And this is pretty much matching what we have here in dbFile. Okay, so just at the preview level, you can see that our data seem to be looking correct. Okay, so what I was waiting for is this one for output schema. So this output schema, now you see your field names. So you have the field name here and the data type. So in our case, customer ID is the primary key. So let's go now over to our Redshift node, and what we want to do here, right here, is that okay, so we chose our customer. Okay, customer is our table name, and the operation that we want to perform here when the job runs is we want to match this. And of course, now we want to choose the field to apply match on. In this case, customer ID. This is a unique field. I think you want to do that because when you're doing match operations, it should be working on a unique field. So combination of fields or just one field should be good enough, as long as they make a unique key. All right, so what happens when this one is matched? We want to update the record with the data from the source. That's fine, and that's it. Okay, so that is all we need to do here. Like I mentioned, you can choose any of these other ones depending on your use case. All right, and then now the last thing we need to do here is to save this job. So I'm going to put the name RDS to Redshift, and just go ahead and click save right here. Okay, so now our data is saved. Okay, so this is how our official ETL looks like. And I mentioned you can also switch to script section here, and you can see the connection here, how it's been done if you were to use PySpark. So you can see you have your connection here to Postgre. The database that we have chosen is customer, and it is writing over to Redshift, okay, with the rest of the other connection information here. You can copy this and just build it from there, from here, if you want to code it up. Okay, so we'll go over to visual here, and like I mentioned, we have this one ready. Now the only thing we need to do is just hit run on this. So I'm just going to click run, and in the run details here, we'll open it on a new tab to monitor it right here. So you can see it's running. Just fill the details, and now you can start trailing the logs from here. Okay, so this is going to give you the logs from here. You'll see if there's any driver log information here, anything wrong, you will see it here. You can also go to the logs right here and just also monitor it from the log section here. So if you start trailing, it's going to show you. You can switch between fill in columns or just in plain text. I'll go with plain text. Okay, so you can now start looking at the logs here, and of course, if there is any issue, the job is going to fail here, and it's going to tell you just a summary of what the problem is, and you can come to the logs and get the exact detail of what the problem might be in case the job fails. Okay, so we will let this one run, and we will come back once it's done. It might take 1 to 5 minutes depending on how big the job is. All right, so we'll come back once it's done. Okay, so looks like our job has completed running now, and you can see the status here is succeeded. So that means that the job completed without any errors. You can see the execution time here. It took around 3 minutes and 22 seconds to complete. Okay, so now that we have our job completed here, all we have to do is switch over to Redshift and see if our table has been created there. Okay, so this is my editor here. All we have to do is refresh this. You can see we only have one table now, but if we refresh, let's see if we can see another additional table right there. Okay, so I'm just going to navigate to the database, and inside the schema, there we go. So I can see two tables, and there we go. Right, so you can see now that we have customer created here. Let's see if our fields are coming properly. Awesome. So we have our fields coming in, and you can start querying this data. Okay, so if you open this one and just query it, run the first 100 rows, you can see. All right, so you will see now that you have your data, and this is looking pretty similar to what we have in our TP right here. Okay, so one thing that you can do here, just for quick validation, you can run scripts to check for your column count. And so let's do that. I'm going to go here to my DVD rental. We'll open new SQL script here. We'll just select star, select count from customer. Okay, and let's see. Okay, so we get 599 rows. We have 599 rows on this customer. Let's now see if we see the same here. So if we do counts down this one also, let's see if we have the same amount of rows here. There we go, 599, 599. So that means that now we have successfully replicated our table from RDS PostgreSQL database to Redshift. Okay, now from here you can start doing your replication, moving your data, whatever use case you have that requires moving data from your RDS database to AWS. You can now start doing your work from here. Alright guys, just a quick recap. In this video we went through the process of replicating data, copying data, loading data, moving data, whichever one you like, from Amazon RDS to Amazon Redshift with the help of AWS Glue. AWS Glue is a very powerful ETL tool in AWS environment, so if you are a data engineer or just a data guy that you want to use the service, I really recommend that you take a look into it. And as you can see, if you have watched some of my previous videos, Glue is really powerful and it's easy to use. It makes your life very easy if you are using AWS and doing your transformations there. And in this case, we used Glue. We connected Glue to our PostgreSQL database as well as Redshift, and then went ahead and moved one of the table that we had in PostgreSQL, and eventually we had that table available in Redshift. Okay, so again, this was our table that we moved. This is PostgreSQL database. Eventually we had that table available in Redshift. Alright guys, that's all I had for you in this video. If you found this video helpful, please give thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel. Alright, I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.